Pedagotech Episode 3. Welcome to Pedagotech for English Teachers, the podcast where we rethink English teaching for the 21st century. I'm Marcelo, and each episode will explore new ideas, tools, and reflection to help you teach smarter, not harder. Let's get started. Lately, I've noticed something interesting in conversations with teachers. The anxiety isn't really about AI. It's about feeling that something we relied on, something that looked like learning, suddenly stopped holding up. Assignments that used to work don't work anymore. Homework feels meaningless. At least I've noticed that with myself. I've stopped even giving out homework because it feels meaningless. Assessments feel shaky, and the instinctive reaction has been to ask, how do we stop students from using AI? But I think the question misses the point. A harder question is, why did this work only as long as students didn't have access to better tools? For a long time, schools confused difficulty with rigor. Long essays, complicated instructions, highly specific formats, they felt rigorous because they were time consuming and easy to grade. But rigor isn't how hard something is to produce. It's about how hard it is to think. AI didn't suddenly make students lazy. It exposed how much schoolwork was built around compliance, endurance, and performance. When a machine can generate a perfect product in seconds, then the product stops being evidence of learning. And that's uncomfortable because it means we were often grading the artifact, not the cognition behind it. Most institutional responses to AI fall into one of two traps, either moralizing, like students must learn integrity, or outsmarting, we'll design AI proof tests. Both fail for the same reason. They assume learning happens in private, and we just need to verify it after the fact. But learning has never worked that way. Struggle is invisible, thinking is nonlinear. So, understanding emerges in drafts, in false starts, in questions, in revisions. The moment learning happens entirely outside the teacher's field of vision, we've already lost the pedagogical battle. No detector can fix that. The most important change AI forces isn't technological, it's spatial. Where does thinking happen? If content consumption happens at home and production happens alone, then AI will always dominate that space. But when thinking happens in the classroom, under supervision, with feedback in real time, something interesting happens. The teacher stops being a content gatekeeper and becomes what they were always meant to be, a coach of thinking. AI is very good at producing finished answers, but it's terrible at accompanying the messy human reasoning over time. It's not a bug, that's a boundary. What worries me most isn't that teachers will be replaced. It's that we forgot how much of teaching was never visible enough to be valued. Judgment, timing, knowing when to intervene and when to stay silent, reading confusion before it becomes failure. These are not automatable skills. But they only matter if we design learning environments where they're needed. If teaching is reduced to delivery and grading, then yes, a machine can do that. But if teaching is about guiding thinking, machines become assistants, not replacements. So maybe the real question isn't what do we do about AI, but what kind of professionals do we want teachers to be? AI is forcing that question into the open. And while that's unsettling, it's also an opportunity. Not to defend old systems, not to chase new tools, but to reclaim the parts of teaching that were always human and finally designed around them. That's the conversation I want to keep having. Thanks for listening.